Welcome back, Nick Lenz, Comic Corner Classics, less known classic. This is episode number 1258 and Doubleshot number 1152. More Green Lantern here. But this time is uniquely different. Unlike last review, where I had to stop in the middle of reviewing one book because of a crossover, this one, don't have to worry about it at all. Basically, yes, I do have two Green Lantern trades. First one is from Robert Venditti. Yep. This one's called Test of Wills. This book contains issues 27 to 34. Red Lantern 20, I'll get to basically that book in a minute. And Green Lantern Corps, Volume 3, issues 33 to 30, 32, 31, 32, 33. Now, you're probably thinking about the cover like, Nick, what the heck is that creature behind Hal Jordan? That's not Kilowog, the far back. That apparently is a Duraland. Yes, you're probably thinking, what the heck is a Duraland? They were DC shapeshifters from Legion of Superheroes. Yep, for some reason they're in present day. No idea why, they just are. Oh, by the way, this is like a series of stories, this one. And it's almost like Venditti's starts off okay. And it gets quite interesting to say the least. Oh yes. First we deal with basically set up for the actual stuff with the Duralands. When the Duralands actually pose as Hal Jordan to basically initiate something that raises a whole boatload of controversy. In book basically. Where Hal Jordan's like, okay, if you use your ring, you can't use it unless you're a licensed member of the Green Lantern Corps or any other corps because of the whole reservoir thing. Yeah. In book, everybody hates this. Despite the fact this is not Hal Jordan. Nope, this is just a Duraland posing as him. Yes, a Duraland. But this particular thing gets interrupted. Why, you might ask? Because at the end of the issue, we have Red Lantern Supergirl shows up. You're probably thinking, Red Lantern Supergirl? When the heck did that happen? That happened in the pages of Supergirl. The reason why in story, the reason she was able to get this ring is because she's got anger issues. Yes, Kira Zor-El, Supergirl's cousin. Also, the way they write this is quite strange. How strange? Okay. So, when they scan to bring her the Mogo, and they scan wait, she's Kryptonian? Wait, that can't be possible, because all I know about is Superman. They have no idea who this girl is. And then Hal's like, okay, I'll bring her to Earth, and basically she's a Red Lantern, because Red Lanterns are in charge of Earth. Let's just have them deal with it. And meanwhile, though, the Red Lanterns themselves basically are just have a normal day, where apparently Guy decided to capture the freaking Shadow Thief. You are thinking, Shadow Thief, you mean the old Hawkman villain? Where in the current continuity, Shadow Thief is a woman. No longer Carl Sands. Nope. It has been a woman for the past several years, and she was one point member of the Secret Society of Supervillains. Yeah, she's part of that massive, big 4-page spread that David Finch did for Forever Evil. This takes place presumably afterwards or before. It's not really clear exactly when this takes place. They don't say. Also, Ice is with Guy Gardner in Paris. Also, Guy's got a mustache. Oh yes, he does. Also, they threw in the variant covers in here. Here's one for you from, let's see. This is a Scribblenauts cover done by John Knotts and Neil Adams, which is basically a parody of the issue where Hal Jordan found out that, well, actually, when Oliver Queen found out his psychic was a heroin addict. Well, for some reason they have them in their current costume, so that's just basically how it is. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, because here's Guy Gardner for you with a porn star mustache. And later on, the guy grows a Duck Dynasty beard because he just doesn't care to frickin' shave. And here's the Shade. This smoking hot woman is the Shade. How in the world became the Shade? Well, apparently she got her hands on a suit that she cannot take off Yeah, it's explained in the Shelf Thief one shot. It was one of the one shots released for Villains Month. Oh yeah, and also we have it where, get this, in the book, Bleeds and this human with flaming hair, it's implied these two have got a thing for each other. And this guy, if I'm this guy, I'm like, damn, I got a smoking hot alien basically have a thing for me. Yep. So they beat them up. Also looks like, though, that via the artwork, Geiger's mustache looks completely different how it was depicted. Like, here it's like really thin. And then you get to the Red Lantern part and it's thick. Really thick. Like almost like a Fu Manchu style mustache. So after they beat him, they basically have it where Guy interacts with his old girlfriend, Ice from the Justice League International. Yep, they remember the fact they were in fact dating. So they bring her to Earth. Oh yeah, and also point about how it's like, wait, didn't you used to be, this is Galaxy, didn't you used to be ball shaped and he just spits out blood? Yeah. Oh, by the way, while they're in Paris, Guy's like, you want to get something to eat, babe? He's like, she's like, not like, really? You want to do this now? Yeah, Guy and her have been dating since the 80s, so it is quite something. And yeah, and when the Green Lanterns show up, like, it was probably like, how dare you be here? It's like, who's that? And Hal's like, that's a good Tony, and he's like, probably like, how is this possible? She's Superman, she's related, and then of course they have her dip, and of course she gets her sanity restored, and she goes, oh yeah, I'm Kira Zor-El, and Hal's like, L, that's Superman's birth name. So family, okay, so yeah, she becomes part of the Red Lantern Corps. Yes, from what I've heard, this is what Tony Bedard told me. He was writing Supergirl at this point. He told me the whole thing of turning Supergirl into Red Lantern. This was all Charles Schultz's idea. I'm not kidding about that. It really was. Like, the one way you could definitely also, there's also more here where Bleeze and this red hair guy looks like a thing for each other via, well, being attacked by frickin' Atrocitus. So, she knows who she is, and, well, then we have more stuff where Hal goes visits his brother, his family, where he tells him that he can't be on Earth, but he's just here just for a quick visit. He can't stay very long. But we do have another Green Lantern basically to fill in for me. He will keep an eye on you. And it's Simon Baz, which at this point in time, Simon, here's the thing about this guy. And this is something that even I've been frustrated with basically when it comes to DC, comes to his character. He's a good character. No problem with Simon Baz. He's Jeff Johns' character. And this is actually one of his very few appearances he's made between Green Lantern 20 and the start from that point, that was back in 2013 up until 2016. Yeah, one of a handful of appearances. So he pops up here, he's like, okay, basically his brother's like, why can't it be you? And of course he leaves, though they do help out later on when they goes more here. So Mogo apparently is in orbit where basically Oa used to be. St. Walker himself is very hesitant to basically, well, put the ring back on his power ring. So then we have the Durland plot come back in after the 2-issue interruption, after the 1-issue interruption by Supergirl showing up. So the Durlands began their plot to ruin the Green Lantern's reputation. That's simply what they do. So they later on basically start apparently they decided to go to war with the Green Lantern Corps. They've been declared war on. So the Durlands bring their fleet along with some of the Lanterns, their species on the planet. Like, wait, yeah, and the thing is, Durlands manipulate all these people in order to turn against the Green Lantern Corps because they don't like them very much. So it begins sort of a space war between the Durlands and the Green Lantern Corps, and this basically is told basically as sort of a mini crossover between Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps. Ryan Venditti ran both of them, so this makes perfect sense. It's told really well, and it just basically Venditti doing a little bit better job than he was doing when he was writing before Lights Out. Yeah, so... And they fight for pretty much almost his entire crossover. And then, of course, at the very end of the story, like, after beating all the Durlands up, the reputation basically is not very good, but they at least beat the people who've been manipulating the galaxy about it. Also, when they revealed the whole thing with the Kryptonian, like everyone's like, what? What's a Kryptonian? Used to be a planet existing in Tomari's sector. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, we had the big space battle, which apparently artists DC love doing your friggin' space battles. And then, like, at the conclusion of this crossover, oh boy, something really dumb happens. Like, okay, apparently, like, there has some stuff, really interesting, cool stuff. Like, after beating the Durlands, like, a couple things are basically done in these two books. One, it's revealed to happen with Vitality. Yes, her ring has moved thanks to some parasite, and it turns out though that even though she'd been dating Jon Stewart all this time, and it turns out though that, well, there's the thing. So, yeah, it turns out that was not actually, well, her loving him, it was the ring. So, the whole time, the relationship between Jon Stewart and Fatality has been nothing more than a lie basically put on him by the Star Sapphire ring. So she beats him up and she leaves him. Yep. I'm like, really? So the whole time Fatality's been with him, it's been nothing more than a lie. So, she's hauled off to jail because she's a criminal. And then, of course, we have to finish this up with Durlands. Then, of course, well, and then we have it's where Simon took time to move Hal Jordan's family over to to Mogo. And, yeah, they can stay here full time because, well, Jim Jordan, he's Hal Jordan's brother, didn't like the fact that basically the Green Lantern interacted was not his brother. So they're invited to live on the planet. According to regulations, as Hal mentioned this, only support staff in the Green Lantern Corps. Well, their family, and of course, the kids have no problem with it. They love being in space. And the Kilowog is a good teddy bear for them. It's basically so fun. And the fact we had a chance to see Hal Jordan's, well, sister-in-law basically were 8. I thought this was so funny. Where her kids basically are with St. Walker. And then a squirrel basically climbs up her via, basically touching her breast. Like, what? It's like a squirrel. And of course, her son's like, oh, don't worry. Mr. Walker says they're perfectly fine. And like, yep, they're very friendly creatures. And it's like, okay, they're like, Ahsoka's so cute. And plus, I love this ending thing that happened in issue 34. Where Jim basically is drinking space beer. Yeah, I love this scene. It's just so good. Like, such good dialogue between Hal and his brother, were basically just sitting on top of near a mountain Mogo. While in the distance we see the ruined Oa. Yes. Thank you, Venditti, for reminding us the fact that Lights Out happened. Yeah, that's the thing that kind of ruined this moment. I mean, yeah, Mogo sees the sunset, but that background shot of seeing destroyed Oa basically almost kind of ruins it. But it's a great moment, and it's an absolute fun ending to this. And then something more awesome happens. And then we hear ping, 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 ping. We're thinking, what the heck is that? A boom tube! And it's Highfather New God showing up. Like, what? Why is he here? The startup Godhead, which comes next. Wow, what an awesome way to end this. Frickin' Highfather of the New Gods. But in the case of this story, it starts out okay. I think it's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I like the start of it. Basically, was okay. This was really good. This was just good. That's my gist of it. Just a really damn good book. I mean, I think my feel other about this particular run, but it's an overall really good book. I give the book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Damn good book. Because it's just pure fun, and I think that maybe Venditti may have heard all the flack he was getting online at that point. So he probably got flack from the Lights Out story and the stuff before that, and it's like, okay, time to change a bit of direction and make it a little more interesting and exciting. But good way. Alright, next up, I'm talking about a book I haven't really talked about sometime. Yeah, I'm talking about the first volume of Tales of the Green Lantern Corps. Yep. Now, I have reviewed previously the second and third volume for the series. If you're curious, excuse me. If you're curious, like, what the heck is Tales of the Green Lantern Corps? Well, before we had the Green Lantern Corps ongoing series, we had Tales, basically short stories featuring other members of the Green Lantern. This was before DC decided to finally give the Green Lantern Corps their own solo title. Yep. This is, of course, the very first book, and this book contains the 3-issue miniseries of Tales of the Green Lantern Corps, which, of course, Hal Jordan did appear in these books. And we also have backup stories from Green Lantern. This is, of course, from Volume 2. Issues number 148, 150, 154, 161, 162, and 164 to 167. Now, who writes this stuff in here? Well, for Tales of the Green Lantern Corps, we have the 3 issues done by Mike W. Burr and Lane Weed. Awesome. With artwork by Joe Stanton, another awesome person, and Brian Ballard did the cover art. The Green Lantern backup stories from 148, 150, 150, 154, and yeah, those ones are written by Paul Kupperberg. The artwork is done by more awesome people. Like, for the first two, Untitled, that's done by Don Newton and Dan Atkins. You have the late Karma Infantino, who does Spirit of Core and Paradise World. The Choice is done by also by Karma Infantino. For 161, it's Robin Snyder with Dave Gibbons of Watchmen fame. I think this is before he did Watchmen. Who does the 161 Storm Brother. And 162 to 164, 167. Everything else is written by Todd Green with Dave Gibbons also on the artwork as well. And the stories are Appearance, Hero, Green Lantern Test of Will, and Successor. First up, we have 3-issue miniseries with Hal Jordan basically working with the Green Lantern Corps. This is, of course, when the Guardians are still alive. This is, of course, back in the 80s. Yeah, these stories all came out from the period of May to July of 1981. And then it's January, April to July of 1982. And February, May to July of 1983. Roughly about 3 years worth here. Excuse me. So, yeah. We also have kind of the first appearance of Adri, I think her name is. Yeah, the blonde hair lady, the blonde hair woman who basically has been part of the Green Lantern Corps. And at one point, believe it or not, this woman had a thing for Hal Jordan, which since it fizzled out, which no writer brings up anymore. It just basically a mission for the Green. Its first issue basically has a retelling of Hal Jordan's classic, like his classic origin story done from Showcase 22. We have like some ceremonies talking about the Green Lantern Corps. Basically, if you're reading this and you're like, wait, if you if you've seen the film Green Lantern Emerald Knights, these stories are very familiar. Because, of course, that will be adapted from the very stories. And basically, we just have a bit, like the first issue, a bit of a recap of the history of the Green Lantern Corps at that point. Everybody doing a recharge in the Green Lantern power battery. We had this thing where all the lanterns just flew up to the giant battery itself and basically touched it. It was probably done like a little better. It's changed a bit since then where they could basically just recharge. Yep. And we apparently have a defeat in issue 2, which doesn't really happen very much. Yep. Excuse me. It's just basically the Green Lantern Corps just doing a mission. We also had the first appearance of frickin' Necron. Yes. You might be thinking, Necron, wasn't he the main villain of Blackest Night? Well, here is his first appearance. This is what... Well, I know it's a glare, but yeah. The guy looked like a frickin' skeleton when he first showed up. Yeah, this is Necron. And he mostly did change. Where he looked more like the Grim Reaper that he did originally. Yep. So... And then we have the conclusion, which they defeated Necron by the end of the miniseries. And then the rest of the stories are just focused on various members of the Green Lantern Corps. First one is focused on Chip, the talking squirrel. Yeah, there's a story involving him in here. Yeah, that's basically what the first story is basically about. The story... I think it's like Be Praised. I think it's untitled. Yeah, this is all about Chip. Espert D. Corps. This one looks like it's kind of focused on John Stewart. Actually, no, it's Cortez Terra, but it looks like John Stewart. Yeah, but it's focused on him. Paradise World is focused on one of the other members of the Green Lantern. I don't remember this woman's name. One with silver white hair, Beethoven alien. Yeah, it's a quick story, which has a follow-up in The Choice. Yeah, it's a quick, like, two-parter. And then focus on a different one, the plant. And we have A Matter of Snow, which focus on a guy with one eye and plant for hair. I don't remember this guy's name. Yeah, focus on him. Storm Brother focused on a redskin alien, who I think is from the same species as Sinestro. Yeah, where he's a Green Lantern, he's just an old farmer. Apprentice is simply put just a guy who thinks it's basically kind of like what if the Green Lantern? What if we take the classic story of Mickey as a sorcerer and make it sort of space themed, with Green Lantern instead with instead of sorcerer's hat. Hero is just basically dealing with like a different member of the Green Lantern. It's a couple different members. I don't know who these people are, but it's just an okay story. They focus on a woman for green magic. Where, yeah. Because at times, basically, some species thinks that the power rings are in fact magic. And focus on her and like possible love interest for her. And we have focus on a goat Green Lantern. Of course, artwork by Dave Gibbons, which is really good artwork, by the way. And that's the end of the trade. Yeah. I gotta admit, the 3-issue miniseries was really good. I would say the short story is the one I did like. I like the Squirrel one. That was really fun to see. Chip, though the guy himself did die in the 90s via being run over by a freaking steamroller in Green Lantern Mosaic number 2. Though I think he's since come back. He's a fun character. And some of the other stories are pretty fun. Like the silver-haired woman, basically, I don't remember her name. But her 2 stories she had were really good. All of them are really, none of these stories are terrible per se. It's just that, well, I think a lot of people may forget about them later. That's just how things are. But it's a good start for Tales of the Green Lantern Corps. And that's it for the Tales of the Green Lantern Corps. Yep. Because that's the last of the trades for the classic stuff. For that. Because next thing, because the first of the trades was the backup stories. Third trade was the first 6 issues of Green Lantern Corps Volume 1. There is a separate trade for them, and it starts from issue 207, not 201. It continues where Trey left off. It's kind of like a replacement for this one. Yep, but these are good classic stories, and I'm going to give it roughly a 9.5 out of 10. It's a good book. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned soon for my review for To Love Re, which is discussing the last 5 episode series. I got the first episode on. Next one will be up soon. Okay, see you next video. Bye.